Hey guys, welcome back to another video here at Fix It, Fax It. My name's Fix It, and today we're going to be doing something that actually a lot of you guys have been asking me to do. How do you wire the fire alarm system? Now I have a very good answer to that, but also a very detailed answer that I can't just explain. I have to go show you guys, which, don't worry, I'll do in a second. But real quick, I just want to apologize for not posting in so long. I've been very busy. And also, if you have any questions or you didn't understand something in this video, because there's been some of you guys asking me from like Europe and the UK, so I'm trying to explain this the best I can because I know stuff is a little bit different over there. But I'm explaining this the best as I can. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to call 1-855-268-5357, or if you want a chat box, there's a link in my YouTube homepage. So yeah. Also, I know that I said I was making a new intro. That is coming. It's taking a bit longer than I expected, so again, no intro. But yeah, let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm down here at the fire alarm panel, and I promise you, it's a lot more simpler than it seems. You'll probably see a ton of wires in here. It can be overwhelming, but just hang on, because trust me, it's not as overwhelming. So basically, there's normally two different kinds of fire alarm systems. You have a fire alarm system with, you'll see it says zone 1 here, zone 2. That's called a conventional fire alarm system. Now basically, if you touch these two wires together, I took a pull station off the wall to show you easier. If you touch these two wires together, it will set the fire alarm off. And it's strictly just power that goes through them. And when you touch the wires, it sets the alarms off. And sometimes you will have it trouble, and it'll say the zone will just go in trouble. There's a little resistor that I don't know how it works, but it makes it so that the fire alarm panel knows that this is like the last device. So if you were wanting to put multiple conventional devices on one zone, you would have these two wires, and then you would connect another white wire and another black wire coming out of this and going to your next pull station, for example over there, and that would be how your conventional fire alarm system would work. So you can have as many conventional pull stations on one zone as you want. Now there is a second kind of fire alarm system, which is a bit more like, if you're more experienced, I would consider an addressable fire alarm system, because they're more for more experienced people. And a lot of you guys are going to be like, why do you have this and you don't use it? I will explain. But this is an addressable fire alarm system. Now there is no power, and if you touch them, it sets the alarms off. It's called an SLC. It's a little dark. But you see there's no zones down here. There's an SLC, I think it's that one. And basically it's just data. So there is no zones, so if you want to hook up a pull station, it's essentially the same thing as this, except there is no zones. So they all go here, and then another two wires to the next pull station, and then another two wires. And what's cool about addressable fire alarm systems is this is an addressable module. Now, there's no board in here because I made this conventional, but you can set an address, and then instead of having, for example, zone 3 is the downstairs theater room pull stations, which is what this zone 3 is, you could say downstairs pull station by the theater room exit door, because essentially each pull station is its own zone, which is pretty cool. But it's a lot more complicated, and I would suggest a conventional fire alarm system to start. Now, some of you guys in the UK, instead of calling these pull stations, they're call points, and they basically all look the same. There's no different kinds. Like, this is a kind of pull station, that over there is a kind. They're kind of like a little box with a little circle in the middle with arrows pointing to it, and all you have to do is push it in. So for you guys in the UK, I think it works the same. I'm not sure, but I'm like 90% sure that's how it works. Now, for horns, I don't know what you call them in the UK. I think they're just horns. But you can have bells too. I'll show you what a bell looks like. This is what a bell looks like. Oh, that's a bell. I think these are the kind that you have in the UK. I'm not sure, but I think they look just like that. So you have bells, and you have horns, and you have horn strobes. This is just a strobe, but a horn strobe has a horn and a strobe in it, so it flashes and makes sound. And the way that this is wired in Canada and the US, we call them knacks. Now, I don't know where this fire alarm panel is from, but they're called outputs here. But they're all the same thing. It's just when the fire alarm goes off, power comes out, and you wire that power in to your horns or your strobes, whatever you want to call it. Now, you'll see there's a little positive symbol and a negative symbol, and I think it's flipped in the UK. But you have to make sure that you line up the positive and the negative up with the things on the horn. But in the UK, I think negative is black and positive is red. Now, these might be wired backwards because for some reason, this fire alarm panel, it's flipped. So normally you would have red as positive and black as the negative. But here, for some reason, black is positive and red's negative. Very complicated for some reason for me, but that's how mine works. So that's how you would wire in horns, and it's basically the same thing. You'd have two wires going into a horn, and then if you wanted another one, two wires coming out, and they all stay the same color. So that is basically how that's done, and that's really it for a fire alarm system. They're not super complicated if you really think about it, and I'll show you here. If I touch the two zone wires together like this with something metal, in a couple seconds here, it will go off, and I tripped zone 1, so you can see on here. Oh, it does this sometimes. Well, the zone 1 light would pop up, and then these would turn on, and look a little something like this. For some reason, my little enunciator panel here stops working sometimes. But anyway, you can see it pops up as red, and then these are all red because they're active. So if I hit reset here, which resets the system, you can silence it, which basically turns off the sound. I just hit reset because there's no actual pull station pulled here. So everything here that's flashing yellow means that there's a trouble, which is why it says system trouble. So basically it means that you don't have an end-of-line resistor on the end of the line, which is the problem, because I'm missing a couple, so there's none on here. So that's giving me a trouble. So that's not really good, but I don't feel like fixing it. So what I can do is just hit silence, and oh, that broke again. There we go. That happens. I think that's going to be it for this video here on Fix It, Fax It. And again, I'm sorry for not posting in so long. I've been super busy. Our basement flooded, so that was a fun one. It's all good now. So again, if you have any more questions, feel free to call 1-855-268-5357, or just do the chat box thing. There's a link in the channel for the chat box. So I hope this helped a little bit, and thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.